Shalom, and welcome to Challenging Torah, a project of the Malibu Jewish Center and Synagogue. This is the portion of Metzora, which is about skin disease, and who wants to talk about skin disease? Well, hang out with any group of women of a certain age, and not so much skin disease, but skin is a topic of everybody's conversation. Do you think I need a facelift? Are injectables a good thing? We have a whole cosmetic industry that devotes itself to making sure you are discussing not only your skin, but everybody else's skin all the time. Do you think she had a facelift? Does she need a facelift? I'll admit it, we all talk, and sometimes it enters the world of gossip. The priests in the Torah were concerned about skin and skin eruptions for a different reason, contagion. And so they were very sensitive to the eruptions that happened, and they called it leprosy in the Torah, but it was really something called Hansen's disease, more like eczema. And it was contagious. And so the priest would supervise as someone was put in a special compartment outside of the camp, different dwellings, for a week. And then the job of the priest was not to keep them out, but to examine the person and make sure that they could return. Very different from those who later years made leper colonies where people were sent away forever. This was for a week, and the priest was to examine the whole person. It's really about holistic medicine, way before our time. And they understood that our mental states could also bring about disease or dis-ease, sometimes eruptions of the skin. And the priest spoke to each person individually. Imagine when AIDS first hit the United States, and the instinct I remember was, well, these people should be put away. I mean, we don't want our children to go to school with a child who, We learned it wasn't contagious in the same manner, that it was very specific, but our first instinct was to close people off, not in the Torah. It was to bring them back. The rabbis, however, in later rabbinic times, after the fall of the temple, were not content with just this answer about the priest examining the scab or the little hair or however your skin needed to look. They made a play on words that has remained with us when discussing this portion. Metzora can also be said as Metzora, which means to bring forth bad or evil. From where? From your mouth. And so they made a connection between this Torah portion and gossip. And we know that gossip is contagious. And that gossip can take a community down. It spreads like wildfire. This is before we had the internet and a way to communicate, Twitter and everything, to everybody instantly, right? Just the power of evil words will fly. And so the rabbis made the connection and made it clear that gossip, like feathers that were left out of a pillow and then you could never put them back, was really a sin. Later rabbis, Hasidic rabbis, took it even further and said, gossip is like the evil inclination or that shell around your words. And we need to break through our first instincts. Be mindful. Don't just say what's on your tongue, and turn it into something kind. Sur mira, turn away from evil, is said, va'oseh tov, and do good. So the challenge is not just to hold your tongue, but to take your tongue and to say something kind to someone. The Kabbalists, at the same time, took it to an even more mystical place. They took it to the place that said, when human beings were created, they were basically beings of light, almost without physical form, light beings. But when Adam listened to the Eve, who listened to the snake and ate that famous apple from that famous tree, God said, that's it. You're out of here and you're going to need some clothing, because Adam, of course, and Eve realized that they were naked. And so he fashioned for them, goddess fashionista, garments of or. Or here is a play on words, because or with an ayin means leather, or with an aleph means light. So they covered up their light with garments of leather, or even snakeskin. It appears that snake really met its end, and it was a coarse, dense corporality. Moses, when he came off the mountain, his face shone, it says. So much so that they asked him to please put on a mask, except when he was speaking to God. His face just shone with light. We take it to the place that says, inside of us, there really is a light being. This Shabbat, take the moment to let that inner light being shine. Our beauty is not really determined by the outside, but what we come from on the inside. Let your light shine, say a kind word, and have a Shabbat Shalom.